Hi, I am Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, and I am really excited about this partnership all across the country. We're talking about partnership with police and community. Nothing personifies this more than this initiative that the NYPD has joined us with the business community throughout Brooklyn on how we can continue the evolution of one using technology with crime saving tactics. No more powerful tool in accomplishing that task than the use of video surveillance. Video surveillance has been introduced as a crucial crime fighting tool that could be used so often to solve crimes, identify a perpetrator that committed a crime, and bring that person quickly to justice. Why is this important? As we witnessed yesterday in the shooting and the heroic actions of the men and women of NYPD apprehending a felon who attempted to commit a push-in burglary, an armed suspect. Thank God the officers are alive for taking their actions. But this person was a repeated offender. After serving more than a decade in jail, he came out to continue his craft of committing crimes. All law enforcement experts would tell you it is the repeated violators that are committing crimes often over and over again. So when you have video surveillance that can identify that violator and quickly apprehend him, you immediately stop crimes from taking place and the continuation of spikes in crime. That's the tool that we're using here today. And so I want to first thank our partners before we go into the detail of this great initiative that we have called Operation Safe Shopper. I want to thank Rabbi Eli Cohen, who has been an amazing partner in this initiative. He's the executive director of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. Chief Shul, who's here, executive officer, Patrol Borough, Brooklyn South. Mark Cassata. He's not. I think Mark is not here with us yet, but he's coming. He's from Park Slope, Fifth Avenue, Bid. Meredith Phillips, Almeda, Myrtle Avenue, Brooklyn Partnership. Joanna Zaki, a good friend out in Coney Island, Alliance for Coney Island, and the precincts who are involved in this pilot project, the 71st Precinct, the 60 Precinct, the 72nd Precinct, the 73rd Precinct, the 78th, and the 88th Precinct. Some of the community supporters we have are precinct community councils and community boards 2, 6, 7, 9, 13, and 16. And all of our partners together have come together to say, how do we fight crime? How do we identify known shooters who discharge their weapons? How do we identify those who are committing those predatory crimes such as assaults and robberies? In this community, we had a series of stabbings and robberies and known shooters in this area. This will help the police in doing so. So how are we doing this? Manhattan has what's called a ring of steel, something that's similar to what takes place in London. It is a ring of cameras that goes around the Wall Street area to protect the stock market and the business district in Lower Manhattan. We are saying that people are more important than property. And so we are creating our own ring of steel. Traditionally, installing a camera is a very costly venture. Dove Hiking was able to secure $1 million to install cameras in Borough Park. Those cameras cover a certain geographical area. Although the NYPD has one of the best surveillance technology and equipment throughout the entire city, we notice that in the inner blocks, in the inner areas, in the crevices of areas we want to continue to drive down crime, we often find that those technologies are absent from those locations. When there's a serious crime, the first thing our detectives and investigators do is canvass the area for video surveillance to allow them to help complement the investigation. That has become part of the everyday tool of law enforcement. So we have taken that concept and we have partnered with our local stores. If you walk into basically any store in this community or throughout the city, you notice that they have video cameras inside their stores. We are asking them to take one of those cameras that's attached to your pre-existing system and turn a camera towards the street area so that in addition to protecting the inside of your store, you will be protecting the street area outside your store. And that video footage will be captured on the existing device. The device will be registered with the New York City Police Department, so if there's a particular serious crime that takes place in the area, the police department will already have the list of stores who are participating in this initiative, and they can go in and quickly get that footage and use it as part of the investigation of the crime. This is an amazing use of technology, and when we sat down with members of the NYPD on a day when we came together with the shoppers and the business community, they gave us the input that we needed to put the final understanding on how to make this happen. And I cannot thank them enough for their level of cooperation and participation in utilizing this initiative. Brooklyn Borough Hall will use its discretionary funding to allocate $2,500 to each location to help this build out. We are doing this through the bids who are participating, and they are identifying the corridors in their business district that, one, see levels of crime, two, see levels of foot traffic, and pointing out which areas are the best to use, because it's so important. In order for this to be successful, we, one, must have the input from our local business community because they know their traffic, they know the trends, they know the movement. Two, we must have the partnership that we've developed with the New York City Police Department to ensure that that information is given to them in a quick fashion. And three, the public participation. After we catch and have video footage, it's imperative that the public, if they have any information that could assist, it's so important that that information could be used. Now, I want to end with this important note. By placing cameras on these corridors, if a person commits a crime on New York Avenue, one would say, how does that help? It helps a great deal. Because when people leave the scene of a crime, not only do you canvass the area where the actual crime took place, but video footage is canvassed in all of the surrounding areas. So if a person commits a crime on New York Avenue and walk down Union Street or Albany Avenue and that video footage is captured, we can use that video footage to put together the pieces of the puzzle to solve the crime. That's the goal. No one knows how to do that better than our detectives and the members of the New York City Police Department. And so we have enhanced the tool, limited resources, but we have created our own ring of steel right here in Brooklyn. And if this pilot project turns out to be successful, it can be duplicated throughout the entire borough of Brooklyn and throughout the entire city. So this is the beginning of how do you have a homegrown technology tool that everyday shoppers, everyday business leaders and bids can use to make their zones and areas a safer place to shop, a safer place to live, a safer place to identify those who are committing crimes. I cannot thank our partners enough. I'm excited about this initiative. I'm excited about where it's going, and I'm excited about the possibilities that we could have to make this a safer community. We should never again have a person who commits a slashing or a stabbing go unapprehended so they can continue their reign of terror and terrorizing the public safety of this community. And so I want to reach out to our speakers. I really want to hear from some of our business improvement district people. And the first, since we're in his Crown Heights area, we want to hear from Rabbi Eli Cohen. Rabbi?
Thank you to the Borough President and his staff who put a lot of effort into this program, a lot of backwards and forwards, and we're really excited. Excuse me for looking like a politician who's looking at their electronic device all the time, but I'm trying to keep the screen on so that I have the actual video watching while I'm speaking. So what we were able to do, we took this concept from the Borough President and we looked at a block in our neighborhood that was underserved in terms of video coverage. Now, underserved could be one of two things. One is that you don't have any pictures at all. Another is that you have very low quality pictures which might tell you what happened but will not really identify a suspect. And what we tried to do in this case, working with our technology partners over here, was to find to actually add cameras that will identify a suspect and a license plate. So we have excellent pictures, and I can make these available to the members of the press if you want, where you can actually see a face or see a license plate in the video and make an identification. So in each of these corners, we have right here on this corner, courtesy of the dry cleaners over here, who remain.
Mr. Clean.
Oh, Mr. Clean, thank you. I was looking for the name. We got to give the guy a plug. Right. And so we have an extra camera added over here, a high definition camera that will pick up anybody going through this corner. Will get a clear identification of them. And the same on the opposite corner at the Albany Bake Shop. We have over there, thanks to Mr. Karolitsky and the people there, we installed an additional camera there, again with the same idea, that will have high definition, high resolution pictures, night and day, that will identify a suspect and be able to give that information to NYPD. Now, in case you don't know if this works, we're actually using the same technology through our technology partners and our crime patrols that work very closely with the police department. We have the Schmier and the Shomrim patrols here in Crown Heights. They work very closely with the 7-1 precinct, represented by Captain Wall over here. And when we had a stabber on Empire Boulevard a few blocks away, there was no actual picture of the stabbing itself, but there were pictures, very clear pictures, going all the way along the street of the suspect following the victim, but no clear identification. Then we had an excellent picture, a very clear picture of the stabber with the knife in his hand with blood on the knife a few yards from the stabbing, but it was from the back, so we didn't get him from that. But then, echoing what the Borough President said, about 3 blocks away down on Troy Avenue, there was a high-resolution camera pointed in the right direction, and we got a very clear picture of the suspect himself. The clothes were the same, and the knife was found in between one place and the second. So this trail of cameras putting together the pieces of a puzzle is very important in solving crimes. We've seen it be useful, and it will continue to be useful, and we know that it'll be helpful. So we're very excited to be a partner with the precinct, with our local businesses, the nonprofit organizations, government, the Borough President, all working together to help make this community safer. And again, we're very thankful for the Borough President for starting off with the $2,500 for this corner for this year, and we're hoping that it'll be $25,000. We'll do another 10 corners for next year. Thank you very much, and we'll go on to some of our other partners.
Thank you, well said. Now, I think that was a great example of the continuation of following the crime pattern. Our next partner that we would like to call for the NYPD, Chief Scholl, Executive Director, Patrol Borough, Brooklyn South. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. We want to thank Borough President Eric Adams for his assistance in our endeavor to join with the community to further reduce crime. This technology will give us a quicker response to the assistance of the detectives, and we thank the rabbi, the local bids, the businesses in the community involved for their participation in this program. We think it's the first step, and it's going to expand throughout the borough, and we'll continue to reduce crime with the collaboration of all concerned. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. And hearing from our last two partners, Meredith Phillips, Myrtle Avenue, Brooklyn Partnership.
Good afternoon. I'm Meredith Phillips Almeida, Executive Director of the Myrtle Avenue Brooklyn Partnership. We are a local development corporation and business improvement district on Myrtle Avenue in Fort Greene and Clinton Hill. Our commercial corridor includes almost 200 businesses, the vast majority of which are independently owned small businesses, mom and pop shops. And a safe, secure corridor is vital for the economic health of a commercial corridor. Also, there are many thousands of residents who rely on that commercial corridor to meet their daily needs and visit and shop every day. And having a safe, secure corridor is important for those residents as well. So we're grateful to the Borough President for his vision and investment in safer Brooklyn neighborhoods. We've been exploring what our role could be as a bid over this past year in improving neighborhood safety. We've already worked with our small businesses to provide small grants for things like open grate storefront grills and security cameras as well. We have a great relationship and a great partnership with our precinct, the 88 precinct, where we share with them which businesses already have cameras, so they know where they can find information when they're doing investigations. So we're aware where there are gaps on the avenue in terms of cameras, and we're also aware through our partnership with the precinct of where there needs to be cameras. So we're going to use this funding provided by the Borough President to address those gaps and continue to strengthen our relationship with our precinct, and we look forward to continued partnerships like this. So thank you to the Borough President.
Thank you, thank you. And lastly, we could not have done this successfully without our community board partners, and one of the really innovative partner in this initiative is Community Board 6, Craig Hammerman. Craig?
Thank you. I'm Craig Hammerman, District Manager for Community Board 6. We represent Park Slope. Park Slope Fifth Avenue is one of the lucky recipients, and we're pleased to participate in this program. We want to thank the Borough President for making it available to us. We want to thank the NYPD for their ongoing cooperation and support. You know, Operation Safe Shopper, a safe shopper is happy and relaxed, and a happy and relaxed shopper spends more money. So please come to Park Slope, spend your money there. You're welcome to come enjoy our bars and restaurants and do some shopping while you're at it. And thanks to the Borough President, a safe neighborhood is about to become even safer. Thank you.
Right. Well said, Craig. And you know, just to point out, it was Community Board 6 where you had two horrific attempted sexual assaults that took place there, and it was video footage that allowed people to see the action would happen, and it's video footage that would be used to do the apprehension. And not only does it assist in the apprehension, but it also assists in the prosecution. The DA takes that same evidence as he or she pieces together the crime to ensure that the person is brought to justice. And oftentimes when an individual sees that they are caught on video, it really does not clog up the process. People often try to make a plea deal to not have to go through the whole extent of a trial. So this is a win-win for all, using technology to partner with the New York City Police Department, partner with our business community to create safe shoppers, safe communities, and safe environments. And we are very happy that our partners have decided to start out this pilot program. We'll open the floor to any questions at this time.
You're just asking the business owners if they have a couple of cameras inside their business to find a way, or giving them the funding to have that system outside as well, not necessarily buying a new system for outside?
Right. This has to be cost effective if we want it to carry through the entire city. As it stands now, installing a camera costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. If we were to install the typical surveillance equipment, it would just be too costly. But go into existing stores and say, hey, you already have a camera system protecting your store inside. Install one more camera or two more cameras outside, as you see here, pointed towards the street and in your surrounding areas. Then we are using a minimum amount of money to have a maximum amount of coverage. And some of these cameras that you see nowadays are plate readers, face recognition. Other technology can be built in so that you can read the license plate, you can identify the face of a person. The technology is amazing, and it's pennies on the dollars with this type of cooperation. Yes?
Sorry, just to be clear, to follow up, if a business owner puts one outside, who's paying for that?
the Borough Hall is allocating $2,500 to each participating business improvement district. They are utilizing their relationships with the bids to identify which stores, and the money is going to go through the business improvement districts to pay for that camera that's being installed.
To be clear, in the case of Crown Heights, it's going through the Crown Heights Jewish Community
Exactly,
Council
right.
in place.
It already did. So this camera was paid for by us with the
Right,
grant
right.
from the borough president. That's right.
So for each 2,400 per BID, how much does one camera cost? Like how many
Well,
do you get?
we were hoping to do 4, but when we really looked at the technology, it's about $1,200 an installation for a high quality. So we can do 2 locations for
Yes.
the money. Yeah.
For installation and the camera.
Well, okay, I just want.
Camera
Say that
installed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Fine.
Sorry. Yeah. So the way that it worked was we got a $2,500 grant. That grant covered each installation. One was $1,200, one was $1,300, depending on the systems that the existing stores have, and that's for a high definition night and day camera added into existing system. In one case, in the other case, we did it with a standalone system, but it's the same idea. So basically, $1,200 or $1,300 will get you a high quality camera on a location where there's an existing, where you already have the Wi-Fi connection, you already have the internet connection, you already have the electricity. That's what the store owner is giving us. So the store owner is giving us the connection, his system access where we need it, and we're giving them the money for the extra camera.
And to be clear, this is a grant that's being given out to the business improvement districts and the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. They're going out to seek their own vendor, so different vendors will have different rates and different packages.
Correct.
So that is all being negotiated. So different vendors may have different.
Right. It depends what kind of system they have already.
This happens to be the vendor that's working here at the
Right.
location.
And
Two cameras came up on the drive.
right. So we managed to squeeze in an extra one so that we would get both shots of both directions. But in that case, one camera was existing from the store already looking at the front of the store. The other camera that looks out to the intersection is the one that we added, and that one is the high resolution. So depending on the installation, we adapt the idea, but it comes down to the same idea that you're getting the access to the location from the store owner with the infrastructure already there, and you're adding a camera that allows him to make available that footage, and then either we'll have a username that only exists. He doesn't want us to see his business inside, but he's happy to provide either on a fast access or an immediate access to get the picture when it's needed for the crime, if it becomes a crime scene. So we're working on it, and it's working out really quite well. And like I said, we've already had some results in other locations, so we're sure that it's going to be effective here too.
So it's important to point out, as Stefan alluded to, we want this to be as local can get. And by allowing each bid or organization to have their separate, choose their vendors, choose the product, choose the relationship, as Rabbi Cohen stated, they were able to get an additional camera. So those relationships are allowing a local level, allow us to really spread these dollars. Trying to put in place a new system is extremely more costly than this. And it could, again, runs into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we are preventing that by making that cost more cost effective.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from business owners?
We have a large number of owners that would like to be a part of this initiative and understand that the person who commits a robbery down the block is only a matter of time before they come and commit a robbery in their establishment. So the goal is to apprehend them beforehand. And so before we expand the initiative, we want to first iron out the kinks, as any pilot project is, and then move forward to do expansion. As Rabbi Cohen stated, we're looking to allocate a substantial amount of discretionary funding next year, and we're going to call on our city council partners also to be a part of this, as well as the assembly and our state senate delegation as well. And we believe that this is a great homeland security issue. We think that the federal government should be involved in this. This is Brooklyn has the largest Jewish population outside of the state of Israel, and we have the headquarters of the Lubavitcher community here on Eastern Parkway. So we believe federal dollars should play the role. This is a cost-effective way to protect communities.
Outside. roughly how many businesses? I know
So each one is getting about $2,500.
Here, you're looking at 4 small screens. You can go to each individual screen and
Yeah, he made a full screen
Yeah,
for us
yeah, there
before
you
I
go.
requested this
Yeah.
shot, so I can see what it looks like as
So
a whole.
essentially, the business owner can monitor this from their phone or their tablet.
yes, they could monitor it. They could immediately get it to the police department. That's the most important thing. That immediately after a serious crime, to get that information to the police department right away, instead of the police department doing what's traditionally done, having to walk up and down the block and canvass the area, they will already have the list of those locations, and they could immediately contact the store owner and get that information right away.
Right, and get permission to use the video.
Exactly.
See if I have a picture here that has something on it. 1 second. Yeah, there's a car with a plate reader. So see, we can read the plate on that very easily. And see if I have a picture of people walking across. Well, I don't know if that person gave me permission to put it on, but anyway, we could. Yeah. Okay. So that's a face. We can, zoom in and see who it is. The whole intersection, and there. We can
So this
zoom in
was
again.
captured by this camera.
This
right
camera
here?
on the corner, the one we
Okay,
saw
so
from
that's-
outside. Yeah. So you can definitely make an identification with this. So
have a bigger picture.
Is that live here?
Yeah.
and then here's
Got a
live
live
footage.
You have the plate recognition one on there?
Yeah, sure. I showed it to you.